Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I wanted to kind of come out here and show you the garden in the daytime. These are the Kentucky Wonder green beans. I've just gotten done pruning out the leaves along the bottom. Let me move in here and show you. Basically, we want to make sure that there's no leaves touching the ground, and as they don't get sunlight anymore, the leaves will turn yellow and dry out, fall off. And you generally want to keep that stuff out because the pests and disease love that dead and dying plant material. That's why God put insects and pests and plant diseases on the earth, is to remove dead and dying plants and to remove young plants. Because typically a plant, if in nature, would drop, 100 seeds in the same place. Well, all 100 of those can't live. So a whole bunch of them get eaten and destroyed, and 1 or 2 end up making it. So that's just nature. So when you garden and you're not following the rules of nature when you're gardening, your plants don't grow this way in nature. You have to make sure that you remove dead and dying plant material from your garden and remove diseased and sick plants from your garden, because they promote an infestation happening. And what would happen is some insects would come along and be like, oh, there's all kinds of dead stuff down here, I like it, I can hide in it, I can eat it, I can stay wet in it. And then as they get healthier and grow up, they start moving up the plants and eating the healthy plants. I do see a few ants from time to time, and they do eat a leaf now and then. It's where you see some of these little holes and stuff in the leaves. At this point, I won't put diatomaceous earth out. I've got too much stuff blossoming, and I don't want to harm bees. So it's something I'll keep an eye on and just watch. If I had to, I might do like a boric acid trap or something like that. But so far, it's not really been an issue. These are the soybeans. They're not blooming yet, but they're getting nice and big. These are the edamame soybeans that you can like stir fry and put on salads. Now, yesterday I was talking about all the squash that I had, and I do have quite a few in here. I had to remove 6 or 7 of them for blossom end rot this morning, however. Let me see. I think I have one that didn't clear the fence. This is a little one. You can see that it's got, the end is rotten. I had some bigger ones too. This is caused by the bud and the young fruit not having enough calcium at the time it pollinates and sets. Now, that's not just necessarily that there's not enough calcium in the soil. Temps that are out of range, too high, too low, primarily too low, overwatering can also cause the plant not to have the calcium it needs at that bud when it sets fruit. My son was in the hospital, and he had to be transferred to Dayton Children's Hospital. It looked like he was going to have surgery. Turned out, thank God, he didn't. I didn't get out here that day to water, and it got pretty dry. And so that's probably where those blossom end rots set. I did throw a little extra calcium around this guy. I'll also throw down a little Epsom salt, because Epsom salt is, the magnesium is necessary for the plant to catalyze the calcium that's in the soil. So that can help too. Cucumbers, I just got little tiny ones like that, bigger ones like this, and this. There's cucumbers all over. There's bees all through here too. I gotta be careful not to get stung. The bees have finally shown up. Thank goodness. And I just picked a bunch of real big ones, and they're in the fridge getting ready for some pickling. Here's the little watermelon. He's growing. He's been there a few days. Here's one of the cantaloupes. This is the biggest one that's set right here. There's some other smaller ones. Oh, there's a bee. Oh, there's another bee. I love it. I finally have bees in my garden. They don't usually sting me. I'm kind of pretty allergic to them. I don't like getting stung. I swell way up. I don't go into anaphylaxis normally, but I do swell way up. If I get stung by a bunch of them, I can go in anaphylaxis. So I have to get the EpiPen. Tomatoes. See if I can show you here. They're just like that or more on every plant. See if I can show you the down here is all the aromas. I gotta get down here and tie some of these up. And guess what? Some of my cherries are starting to turn this morning. Starting to get a little yellow tinge to them. Peppers. Growing all through on that one. Another bell pepper here. This plant has got a bunch more blooms on it, so it should be setting some soon. I just harvested a big one off of it. I had one stalk just die on this plant, and I'm not sure why. I cut it back, cut it off. The rest of the plant seems healthy. Not sure what happened. These bell peppers have not been tremendously big producers this year. These are a yellow bell sweet pepper from Bonnie Plants. I won't be planting this variety again. They're okay. The Camelot bell peppers that I planted in the past have just far and again been the best producers of large bell peppers. The California Wonders I did last year, I got quite a few, but nowhere near what the Camelots give me. So Camelots are what I'll barely be planting from now on. These are the sweet peas, and you can see, you know, they're getting blooms on them. They're happy. This is actually a weed that I terminated, and there's more blooms down here. And the gourmet green beans have a mixture of these pretty purple blossoms and the white blossoms. Man, it is humid out here. Whew. Sweating like crazy. This is the corn. It's just growing. I'm just letting it grow. I haven't done much to it or anything. It just seems to be happy. This is the potatoes. As you can see, this one on the end, I'm having some issues with it deciding to wilt and die off. And that may just be that, well, this soil's all pushed up again. I'm going to have to get some more soil in here, I think, is the issue. As it keeps growing potatoes in there, it keeps pushing the soil up. So I'll get a bag of dirt and bring it around here. These are the lentils down in here growing with a bunch of weeds. Nothing spectacular going on there, but it's kind of curious to see them growing. I'll probably just cover these up at some point, fill this hole in, but it was just something fun to play with. But yeah, I've kind of created this huge food producing monster. It's just growing like crazy. It's the most work has just been kind of pruning things, especially on these tomatoes, trying to keep them pruned because I planted them too close together. And the cucumbers will really take off too on you if you don't keep them pruned back. But I'm real happy. You know, a lot of people argue with the Mittleider system and say they don't like it, and you're using chemicals and you're doing this and that. I hear you. I just can't argue with results. The produce tastes better than any produce I've had out of this garden. I mean, it tastes amazing. It's sweet. It's good. The plants are happy and healthy and strong. And you can tell me that plants don't just require these 3 nutrients that you put on, or 13 nutrients. And maybe you're right. But I see a lot of other gardens grown with chicken poo and compost and manures, and they don't look like this, folks. They just don't. They look sickly. They got stuff turning all different colors. They're not producing fruit. They're full of weeds. They don't grow like this. And I guess I just choose to make my decision based on results. I truly believe that a plant doesn't care whether its nitrogen came from poop, urine, or ammonia nitrate, or whatever, right? It doesn't care. Ammonium nitrate or whatever. Plants just want the nutrient. And I think that people make the mistake of thinking that since plants in nature grow in symbiosis and they grow amongst each other. Ooh, something's dive bombing me. Some kind of a big bug. Hope it's not a bee. They make the mistake of thinking that that's what they want to do in their garden. They want to be natural. And I haven't seen, I say this time and time again, shouted at other gardeners from the rooftops, and they look at me like I'm crazy. Gardening isn't natural. I don't see nice little neat rows of lima beans growing in that field back there. Right? That field is natural. And there's, I'm sure, edible plants back there. I'm sure there's amaranth and different types of wild, all kinds of plants that you can eat. Like somebody came through here with the bush hog and knocked some of this down. But I really want good green beans that I can and carrots and potatoes and stuff like that. I don't want that stuff. I mean, if I had to survive and I knew it was edible, I'd eat it. But a lot of wild edibles to me that I've tried taste like really bitter and nasty. I want really good sweet produce. So this method is working. It works well. It's very easy, very cost effective, highly productive. That's what I'm going to be using from now on for my gardening. And as far as being sustainable, well, I'm just going to stockpile a lot of fertilizer and micronutrients. I can stockpile 20, 30 years worth for, you know, hundreds of dollars, not a tremendous amount of money. I can't stockpile 20 years worth of chicken manure, because in 20 years it won't be chicken manure anymore. And if I run out at some point, well, then I get to go back and start over with a more traditional gardening methods. And at least I have an idea what's going on when I use a traditional gardening method and I see a deficiency. I know that those squash, they have a calcium deficiency, and I don't have any more dolomite lime, let's say. Well, I can think of other places that I can get calcium, although slower release. Crushed eggshells, limestone. You know, things that might take longer to amend the soil. They might not be as fast of a treatment, but over time I'll know that I need to amend that soil ahead of time and let it break down. So yeah, I can fall back to those methods. But the Mittleider has taught me so well by seeing highly productive plants that are growing at the maximum they can that happen to show a deficiency. Because when a plant says gets all the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus that it needs, all of a sudden I might say, whoa, I need some more of this. Well, I know how to identify that. So that's been, probably gives me a leg up over most of the traditional gardeners that I meet that have no idea what's wrong with their plants. And it's almost like it's the definition of insanity. And I used to do it. But they keep doing the same things over and over again, year after year, and getting the same miserable results. And then the next year, they do the same thing again. Well, it didn't work, so let's do it again. Because I just used to not know. I'm so glad that LDS Prepper one day put a video up about his solar panel system. And I saw it. And then I saw some of his gardening videos. And I remember, it's like, this guy's crazy. He's built these like crazy grow boxes. And he spent all this money on lumber just to grow some plants. Just like, that's insane. And then I kept watching. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of food. Those plants are happy. And I started reading more about it. And I got on the Facebook group and I ordered the book. And I ended up here. And I'm getting the same results. And if you follow the method, you do get the results. So anyway, that's all I will go on for right now, folks. Just gonna get back inside in the air conditioning and get this uploaded. And I got some other stuff I need to do today. So I will talk to you later. Alright, everybody, this is Tom, your Frugal Prepper. Everybody, be happy and frugal out there.